Hey y'all, I'm back with another Cephalid Breakfast Legacy video, and I'm going to be playing the same deck here that you saw me 5-0 with last time. This is really what I think will be the final version of what I play for Eternal Weekend. I could see some slight changes still. It's really tough to say though, because I don't feel like there's any logical reason to expect much of a metagame shift. I do wonder if I could expect a little bit less combo at the event itself rather than in the online meta. At least all-in combo decks where 3 Force of Negation, Consigned to Memory might be really good. I could see some slight reconfiguration of that, but those are also really good cards to have against some emergency matchups like Red Stompy. So those are some considerations. You know, I've been on and off of Agatha's Soul Cauldron, but coming back to it now, I really do appreciate it quite a bit. It doubles not only as graveyard hate against more fair graveyard decks, but it also pumps up our own strategy. It can be the first Nadu trigger that gets you into, you know, a spiral of card draw. It could simply be an extra card draw a turn, sort of like an equivalent of activating Cephalid Illusionist with a Nadu in play, but much more mana efficient if there's creatures in graveyards. And then eventually it can be the thing that picks up a Nomads and turns your Nadu into a Nomads and Core all in one and spirals you out of control pretty quickly. So I've really been liking it, and I hope more people will give it a try. I've seen some lists here or there on it, but it feels really good. And, you know, I know there's been a little bit less of like oops all spells and the more degenerate graveyard decks. And so I think the stock of Fairy Macabre is down ever so slightly. It's still nice to have against Dimir Reanimator as well, as it's uncounterable. So really, I feel like I'm narrowing in on what exactly I want to do. I could see an argument for trimming even another Daze for another removal spell, or maybe a main deck Ghost Vacuum, something like that. But I don't want to disrupt the 4 Tamiyo plan. I think that's pretty solid. And so if there was any card from the main deck that I think could go, I could maybe see a Daze. However, having a 1 of Daze, I know that's been done. I know Larson had at least one, I want to say it was like the Showcase Challenge, there was one with a single Daze. So it's definitely feasible as a plan, but it feels unreliable, and you know, Daze is often boarded out. So I could see the 1 of Daze being nice, because if you get it in game 2 or game 3, it could be a surprise when your opponent hasn't had to play around Daze all match. And I could see the benefit of, if you get it in the first game, then people respect Daze the whole rest of the time, and then you don't have to worry about it so much. But I think 2 has been a nice sweet spot. That is maybe one of the final things I might test there. But I think I am coming to the final form of this deck, and it's been sweet. Hopefully this league goes well. Let's see how it goes. I'm on the draw in the first match. This hand looks pretty good. I want to say this opponent typically plays some sort of combo, so Force of Will is looking good. Be nice to pitch a card other than Nadu, but good mana, a combo piece, Force of Will, a bit of interaction. This is, I think, a pretty average hand, and I will be happy to keep it. Alright, my opponent is on 6 cards. Verdant Catacombs. So no play from them. Verdant Catacombs definitely, I think, has a bit of a combo vibe to it. I'll play on Surveilling. I could also Swords if there's something I need to Swords. I'm predicting that Swords is going to be a dead card. And drawing that land this turn was not great, as my mana was already pretty well underneath me. But I'm happy to be holding this Force of Will. Okay, they kept the card on top. Could just be Dimir Reanimator. Saga, okay. Yeah, this should surely be some sort of Storm deck. And Thoughtseize, so I'm probably losing that Force of Will. Yep, so they can do their worst here. At least I'm probably not dead to constructs because of the plow. So if their plan was to pivot and make constructs, I should have that angle covered. Brainstorm is amazing. And I will brainstorm now, as brainstorm, not only are they tapped out of Orcish Bowmasters if they are on that, but I could brainstorm into one of my combo pieces to pair with Nadu, which I did not. I think I'm just going to put back lands. I think my mana is pretty good. And I'll plan on getting a Hedge Maze here. Hopefully they're not a Cabal Therapy deck. They could completely strip my hand with Cabal Therapy. Tezzeret, okay. Yeah, that's good. Cool deck. LED. Okay. Are we going right now with an Echo? Just passing. They can already minus this again next turn, which is crazy. And it wouldn't even die. I don't need Cephalid Illusionist. I need something to pair with Nadu. Tamiyo's not great, so I'll play a Nadu out. I think I'm going to lose this particular game, if I had to guess. But hopefully I won't get stormed out this turn. If I untap, I'll feel semi-okay. If they make a construct and just pass, they might think that I've brainstormed away the swords. Not making a construct is scary. Surely that means they're confident that I am dead. If it's an Echo line, I'm cool with that. I typically don't mind getting an Echo of Eons resolved against me, especially if I already have one of my combo pieces in play. It's just so likely that I hit a Force of Will and the other combo piece. Alright, looks like that's what's happening here. Pity I couldn't counter this. Well, they had two, so... Yep. Yep. Uh-oh. Well, if I get a turn and don't get Thoughtseize, this will be great. If they Echo again, that's okay too. I think I'm over 50% to be dead here. But we'll see. Thoughtseize, sure. All F6, though I will be careful to un-F6 if they Echo. Defense grid. All right. We're doing this thing again? Or am I just dead right now? I can ultimate this thing. All right, well, I'm getting a turn. I have multiple ponders to find nomads. Shuffle. I'll go ahead and play this land out and then use that to cast ponder. Shuffle. Okay, Shuko. All right. So I can kill this guy and draw a bunch of cards. And this 3/3. So they do get the emblem. So these artifacts are going to start hitting me soon, but I do have a plow. Okay, Thassa's Oracle. Basic Island. I'll use that to cast Tamiyo. Okay. Force of Will. Sadly, without the mana to cast it. So I'll get Tezzeret dead. And I think I won't worry about the 3/3 Chrome Mox. I don't think that emblem's really going to get the job done. So I will be beholden to whatever it is they want to do this turn. I suppose I could Swords the Chrome Mox, but I think Swordsing a Construct will be better. So they get to do what they want here. But I think they have nothing to do. I bet their last card is a land plus whatever they drew here. Let's see. They're doing something. Another defense grid. Okay. So I think I'm going to win this game. I have never faced down the ultimate, though, from Tezzeret, so this is pretty cool. So all I have to do is hit a Cephalid Illusionist in my top 5 cards of my library, and I instantly win, and I get it right away. Okay. So just to avoid wasting time, I'm just going to cast that. And they don't scoop, so I will go through the motions, which is totally acceptable of them to not want to scoop. They get to see my whole deck, so why not do that? But we both know that I have won this game. And obviously I could do this more optimally. I could be drawing a ton of cards right now that I am choosing not to do, just for the sake of time, because they're hellbent. They have nothing on board that will prevent me from winning. So I will go now because I have only 6 cards in library, and my devotion to blue will be 6, so I can deny them a little bit of information by doing this now. Cool. And looks like there was at least one Daze that was left in my deck. I didn't take a strong peek at that, but you know, that was maybe a bit of information I would be happy to deny them. So a little thing like that could matter. So against the Storm deck, I just want my blue cards. I could see Pithing Needle against this specific list, but I think probably not. I would probably rather go for like a prismatic ending if there's room for it. So my cuts are typically the Tamios, the swords, the planes, but that does leave me with 59. I will bring in the Pithing Needle. I think that could be good against this list that has Saga, has possibly Wishclaw Talisman, and has Tezzeret. So I don't love that, but I also didn't see any graveyard strategies that Vacuum would get. I'm sure they do probably have it, but I'll try it. Against these sort of Storm decks, I feel pretty favored as the Cephalid Breakfast player, simply because of the number of forces I have. 4 Force of Will, 3 Force of Negation. I'm pretty reliably going to have 1 and possibly have 2. And it's very likely I'll have multiple pieces of interaction that they'll have to Thoughtseize through before they can combo. And then, as I was explaining before with Echo of Eons, if I already have some lands and if I have 1 combo piece in play, the Echo is just as risky for them as it, you know, as it possibly could be. Because so many times after an Echo of Eons, they pass the turn. I don't know if I see that an above average amount of time in my experience, if I've just been lucky, but I find that I am routinely getting the turn passed to me, and then I just put in my other combo piece and win, or they echo me into a Force of Will and I can stuff whatever it is that they're doing. This hand looks great. I'll probably sadly have to go Island Shuko at the beginning rather than Surveilling, but then Island Shuko means that I am not so in a pickle with Echo of Eons. Alright, my opponent is mulling again, so I'll keep. Hopefully they mull to LED Echo and just go for it. I would love a low stress game here. Looks like I'm going to get to use this Force of Will immediately. I don't know, this could just be a Thoughtseize. I do wonder what the purpose of playing those cards out is. Like, you could just pass the turn and do nothing, but I've literally never played a game of Storm in my life, so I don't really know what it is I'm doing. Entomb, tricky. Yeah, they already have the mana to put Echo on the stack without needing LED, so I think this is a Force pitching Memory's Journey. I wonder what that timing was playing around. Like, it did play around Force of Negation for sure. I just hope I don't have to pitch this Cephalid. So a blue card here would be really nice. Another Entomb. Yeah, I'm going to let this Entomb go. So they are just trying to play around Force of Negation. All right. I'll just try to win the game. That sounds like a better plan than giving them a turn. They appear to be F6. Yep, sweet. All right, so that was a pretty low stress one. Drawing the untapped land there was really nice. And usually these Storm decks, they can't really interact with my combo. They just don't have the card slots, you know, to present their own potent strategy while trying to combat what I have going on. Sometimes I do see a Storm player bring in like a Leyline of the Void or something like that. And if they have like a Helm of Obedience pivot that they can do, then that's pretty good. But typically when I'm playing against a Storm player and I see like they mull and then all of a sudden Leyline comes in, I feel like I win the game on the spot. So I think this is overall a fairly easy matchup, and I think this particular match showcased that. I'm on the draw for the second match. This hand looks good. Probably go basic island ponder turn 1. I could also go for a fast Urza Saga depending on what my opponent shows me. And if I do get Thought Seized, I'll probably lose the Cephalid, but can rebuild with the cantrips. So hopefully we're settling into a nice fair game of Magic, and I can be the unfair one. My opponent is on a mull, and my opponent is good on 6 cards. Misty Rainforest go. Could be basically anything. All right, I will play Island Ponder, a Nomads, a Tamiyo, and a Saga. Kind of awkward, but I think it's okay. I think it's better than a shuffle. Next turn I can play Tamiyo. Maybe that eats a removal. Maybe I'm just dead right now to an Atraxa. Let's see. Okay, no action on the end step from my opponent. Okay, a basic island and saying go. This does seem like a nice spot for a Tamiyo. This could be like show and tell. Never seen that basic island before. Kind of a neat one. Alright, I'll start with Tamiyo. I'll play Saga first. I should be in a position to play around Daze pretty well. So, next turn I draw the last card off that Ponder, and then I can brainstorm with the Tamiyo. Hopefully hit like a Force of Will. They could be on like Show and Tell or something like that, which would be brutal. Okay, end step Brainstorm. This fetch will be very revealing. I think if it is Show and Tell, then the Tamiyo was probably not a great play. It probably would have been better to play Cephalid, and then to have ordered the Ponder differently to where I draw the Nomads. Well, let's see. Okay, well, they like all their cards very much, so that's intimidating. And we'll finally see what's going on here. Okay. Some Dimir deck. And Duress, okay. Probably taking my Brainstorm. So my thought then is probably Doomsday, and I'm pretty in a pickle here if they can cast Doomsday right now. Looks like that's what's happening. Oh, a Bayou, interesting. Okay, maybe it's just Storm. Maybe this is an Echo right here. I'll flip my Tamiyo if so. Okay, this looks like Ad Nauseum. Wow, back-to-back Storm decks to start the league. Kind of crazy. Alright, well, I'll get to see their hand. I'm sure I'm dead here. But they have played their land, and there's been like no mana sources. This is actually like a pretty bad Ad Nauseum. Gotta say. The fact that they don't have any sort of 0 mana card means they might be in a position to pass the turn. I think they need to keep going. I think they just need to go for it. But there's also plenty of cards that next turn, you know, they have to discard 5 cards, but they could probably win the game next turn. They could play out the Lion's Eye Diamond, discard a couple lands, a couple other things. I'll have to pay close attention to what they discard, but I'm sure they can win the game next turn. I'd be shocked if not. It's going to be somewhat tight. Man, how often do you see Ad Nauseum brick? Okay, so they discarded Ponders, a Thoughtseize, and a Swamp. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So they still have Duress. They're going to be able to Wish Claw. So like there's nothing I'm going to have to say about what they have going on next turn. So I think my best plan is simply to play out Cephalid. And if they have an Echo of Eons, I have that covered. Or, you know, I can just win on the next turn if they have to pass. So I think I am unfavored from here. But I don't know if this is going to get there all by itself on the storm count. Like, Wishclaw can get something. They can crack the LED and then have Past in Flames. There's probably a line that wins the game. So I'm just going to F6 and let them do their worst. Even though I think these ad nauseum decks are probably not the ideal storm strategy right now, I do think they're slightly better against Cephalid Breakfast. They're a bit slower and they have a bit more protection. So let's see what happens here. They have to win right now. And their draw for turn was Dark Ritual. I have to imagine they can simply discard their hand, flashback Past in Flames, and then Infernal Tutor, get Tendrils. And they should have enough mana already in their yard that they can simply go off. They could just cast Past in Flames now too. That'll get them to Storm 5. So this is Storm 5. Eventually Past in Flames will be Storm 6. Well, they're cracking this right now for another ritual. Okay. Storm 6, then they Past in Flames. And then 7, 8, 9, 10. Yeah, they should have this. I'll let them go through it. There's the Past in Flames. Cracking the LED. Yeah, it should be pretty simple at this point. Well, I don't really want to sit through it. They're just going to get Infernal Tutor. And then Infernal Tutor will get Tendrils and then win the game. So they got it. So same plan as last time. And especially seeing that they're a Past in Flames deck, I'll probably bring in the Ghost Vacuum instead of the Needle compared to my last sideboard plan. And I think Storm decks maybe aren't even particularly favored game one, but if they are going to have a game that they're favored in, it would be game one. So I do have to pick up 2 games after sideboards here. I should be pretty favored in both, but there is some pressure as I have to win both. All right, I'll be on the play. Have to mulligan this, sadly. Yeah, I can keep this. Bottom the Surveil land. They're mulling as well. I don't love this situation, but it is what it is. I would love to have some sort of interactive card. And if they strip my Brainstorm, then I really just have to hope that they're not ready to go off super quickly. Pedal. And Ponder. Okay. So maybe trying to play around Daze with the Ponder. No shuffle. But they are passing the turn, it looks like. Another Nadu is nice. Don't have to worry about Thoughtseize now. Force of Negation is also nice. I think what I'll do is I'll get rid of the island and I'll tuck a Nadu underneath. And I can retrieve that Nadu if my Nadu gets Thoughtseized. And I can shuffle it away if I get a Nadu next turn, if they pass the turn. Sadly though, if they Thoughtseize me and take Force of Negation, I'm just in trouble. Okay, it looks like they're passing. I'll go ahead and fetch a Surveil land. They could have Abrupt Decay, something stupid like that. Ponder's a fine draw. I'll just round out my duels with Savannah. Play on Nadu and hopefully draw some cards here. Sweet. Are they going to kill my Nadu? Okay, interesting. Alright, well, not ideal. But if they're going to waste time Abrupt Decaying me and letting me draw 2 cards in the process, then hopefully That means they won't have the ability to combo off when the time comes. And I have a lot of things I can dig for. I have a lot of digging power next turn to find a Cephalid or find a Nadu. Sadly, my mana is a little restrictive because I only have 2 blue sources as of right now. And note I could have gotten a different land other than Savannah. So if I had gotten another blue source, I would have a bit more of a threatening mana base right now. So sometimes it feels fairly arbitrary when you're fetching your 3rd dual land, but I think there was no real reason to go with things other than blue lands. All right, surveilling something into the graveyard, another land. So they kept off the Ponder. With only 4 cards in hand, though, I feel good about having a single Force of Negation. Another Urza Saga is cool. I'll Ponder. Cephalid, yeah, okay. I'll play out this Saga, and I'll play Cephalid. And I'm guessing I'm about to win here. I do have Memory's Journey, so if somehow they have multiple pieces of Graveyard Hate, then I'll just be out of luck. They are brainstorming now off of a Petal, which looks pretty emergency. So this play is giving me a lot of confidence for how this is about to go. All right, they are letting me proceed with the combo, so I will do that. Now, because it is Shuko and not Nomads, I need to make sure that I hit my Memory's Journey before I hit the Thassa's Oracle, as that gives them a window to interact. And so that'll be purely luck. Okay, there's Memory's Journey. I just can't imagine the Storm player having multiple pieces of interaction for this. So, honestly, I'd actually be surprised if they had any interaction for it, but here we are. Okay, they didn't have anything, as predicted. I do get annoyed when people have literally nothing and they like make me click like they don't have 6 or at least like yield to stuff. Like, I don't know. My opponent says big fan. Awesome. Well, then you might see this later. Yeah, so I definitely prefer if someone doesn't have any interaction to, I don't know, not delay too much on stuff, but it's hard to tell on Magic Online what's going on. So, all right, game 3. I think I just want the same thing. I'm not too worried about permanence of any kind. I think I have the graveyard reasonably in check. And yeah, let's hope for a good game here. Let's hope for a win. All right, well, this presents a win pretty quickly. I'll keep. If they have a fast combo, I am out of luck. If they have Thoughtseize, that's also pretty good. Duress, okay. All F6. Yep, pretty reasonable take there. Okay, another untapped land is nice. I'll just start with the Nomads, and yeah, pretty much they can do their worst. Ponder was a good take from them. If they have a Thoughtseize, they probably don't have a Thoughtseize because I think unless you would Thoughtseize turn 1 instead of Duress. So do your worst here. I appear to be getting a turn. Okay, and Nadu. Is there any reason not to go for it here? If they have Graveyard Hate, which I don't particularly expect, they would get me. If I pass the turn, they could kill me. But I also have Nadu. Play Cephalid. Now here's a moment where if I were them, if I was clicking through the combo, I would like definitely slow roll everything because they see I'm not holding up Memory's Journey. But like last game, you know, if you understand the breakfast list, like you understand they have quite a bit of protection as it is. And so here I am much more nervous about the prospect of going for it, but my opponent says GG's. Yeah, I gotta say, man, that's one thing I've really enjoyed about doing YouTube is like actually getting a lot of good positivity from opponents. A lot of good positivity from opponents overall. I feel like at least once every couple leagues I run into someone who says they really like my content, and that's just so rewarding. I've really been so fortunate to experience that. And you know, my content is like pretty niche, just one format, one deck, and that can only appeal to so many people. And I don't suspect if I keep my channel like this, I'll ever really be a big time YouTuber. I don't even know if that's a goal of mine, but I just like I've liked the increased, you know, recognition from the community, and yeah, it's been really cool. So GG's DrMungay, and thanks for watching. All right, I'm on the draw. This hand is awkward as it has Dread Return, but it's probably a keep. Got the Daze, got the Tamiyo. Tamiyo plus Daze is a combo all to itself. My opponent is mulling here to 5, so this could be yet another combo deck. Okay, looks like Eldrazi. So I'm happy to be getting my 1-drop in down ahead of a Chalice. And Cavern is also really nice. So I can go basic, basic, and then Nadu. I can also put the Cavern on core and get around a Chalice, though if they Chalice this turn, I think I'll probably Daze it. Well, this guy is getting dazed, that's for certain. Another Tamiyo, not great. And that daze might be consequential. You know, it represents a reasonable setback. So if they follow up with another big dude, like a Thought-Knot Seer here would be pretty rough. Yeah. I can rebuild though. They should take Nadu. Yeah, took Nadu. Well, hopefully I can find one of those 3 copies of Swords to Plowshares. And even though it gives away information, I'll play the Tundra. I might want to Surveil with Windswept Teeth. Draw my card. Another land, not great. Another Thought-Knot Seer, that sucks. So now I would probably take the Cephalid if I were them. So flipping the Tamiyo doesn't really look great in the face of all this stuff. I really just have to hope to get like a Swords. I'm surprised they took the Tamiyo. That was, I think, a misplay on their part. So they have a fast clock that I'm going to be dead to very soon. If I can find a Nomads, that would be not so bad. Another Tamiyo, you say. So I will have to hold this Tamiyo back to block after this turn if I don't draw something good here. Yep, I take 8. I'll go to 6 off the fetch. Fetch a basic. No play from them. Could be one of many things. Okay. So now I think I'm favored to win, actually. So I'm going to mill my whole deck. As long as they can't wasteland me. I have blockers. I have Force of Will for Kozilek's command. So I'm just going to hold everything back. I'll block with the Cephalid for sure. Wasteland gets me. Okay, no Wasteland. Block with Cephalid, and I'll just block with Narcomoeba. I don't know how they get 1 damage on me, but this is pretty free, so I'll do it. And Memory's Journey. Target myself. Target Thassa's Oracle. That worked. So they didn't have the command. Name Wizard. Cast Oracle. Awesome. So this was avoidable. They took Tamiyo with that second Thought-Knot Seer when I already had a Tamiyo in play. So that was just their missed opportunity, and that opened the door for me to win the game. So can't say I feel great about that one, but a win is a win and I'll take it. So I definitely want removal, Chalice of the Void Answers, an extra land, and Chalice of the Void Answer. If I have room, I'll consider Pithing Needle. The cards I don't want, I think, are just 1-drops. And then on the draw, I'm actually going to take out the Dazes for 2 Force of Negation to try to answer Chalice. This also can answer a CarlosZ command. Yeah, really, if I can avoid the Chalice and if I can avoid a crazy fast clock, I should be good. All right, this doesn't have much of my own game plan, but it has an answer to Chalice, and it has my best interactive card. Looks like they're... okay. Wow, turn 1 line breaker, yeah. It's pretty good. Hopefully between that Force of Will and Consign, I can keep other things off the board and then turn 3 answer this thing. Now, I will need another colored mana source to be able to do that. Unlicensed Hearse. That's fine. So next turn, I think I'll just play Tundra. I don't think I'm gonna Surveil here. I'll wait a turn to Surveil. Okay, Swords is great. I will nevertheless let them go to combat. Just Swords this thing now. Yep. And then I'll get a Meticulous Archive here. I could have preserved this for another turn, but I do want to hold up Consign. Brainstorm is really good. I probably won't cast it right away. I'm going to play out the Saga this turn. So the Unlicensed Hearse is awkward, but something I can definitely play around. I think I just have to focus on keeping their big things off the board, like this. Probably Thought-Knot Seer, yeah. I doubt I need to replicate it, but it should be free to replicate it. And I'm not really spending my mana on anything else, so... It's nice they don't have Cavern of Souls. Okay, that's pretty nice. I'll name Wizard. And just pass the turn intending to make constructs. I can also Needle Unlicensed Hearse, but I probably should just get Shuko. And as long as I keep their board clear, I should be favored here. Force this. Would love a Nadu off the top. Dread Return. Terrible. But I do still have a fetch land and a Brainstorm. So I think the answer is just get Shuko. Play the fetch. Start hacking away at their life total. And I need to dodge, I think, 1 good top deck from them here. I think this is their window to do something meaningful. Well, Cavern is good. Looks like they might have that guy. Oh, Fleshraker, okay. Well, Hellbent with a Fleshraker is no big deal, especially since I have the answer for it. I'll keep the fetch land. Okay, another land means I could Brainstorm into a Nadu. Okay, I could Swords this thing. Probably just get rid of Dread Return. And maybe Nomads. And just try to keep their board clear. I think that's fine. Play the land. I don't even need to Swords this thing, honestly. I'll let this thing stick around. If I get to my next turn with my hand the same way it is, then I can Prismatic Ending it. But I need to save the Swords for something more threatening. And they're likely going to have to chump block with that Fleshraker. It is annoying, though, because I guess it can crew the Hearse if they want to do that. And it can make blockers. So it is a threatening creature to leave around. Okay, Wasteland was not a good draw for them. And attacking, sure. Now the Wasteland, that was a good choice there because now I can't Prismatic Ending that. Another Cavern, not very good. Memory's Journey, quite bad. So this puts them to a pretty low life total. I will just hold the Plow and hold the ending. And if we get to their end step, like if they just play land here or otherwise do something inconsequential, then I'll probably Swords the Fleshraker on the end step. Okay, crewing. I guess I am at 7 life, so that is a 7/7. I will let them go to combat so that they can't gain more life. Cool. — Nadu, please. Force of Will. Okay, Force of Will is pretty good. Obviously, it's not great against their Cavern on Eldrazi, but any other form of interaction, it's going to be pretty good. These prismatic endings are pretty awkward here. All right, I've got 2 lethal attackers. Sweet. GG. I wonder what they drew. Maybe like Graveyard Hate. Who knows? But having that plow there was definitely a lifesaver when they had Xaxes on the unlicensed hearse. They were probably feeling pretty good in that moment. So anyway, I'll take the win. All right, I'm on the play for 4th match. Yeah, I'll keep this hand. A little tragic. Dread Return being any other card would make this a phenomenally better hand. But I'll start with the Hedge Maze and take it from there. My opponent is mulling again. This has been a league of mulligans for my opponents, and that probably has contributed to my success in the league so far. All right, they're good on 6. Start with Hedge Maze. Another land is good. So next turn I could Cephalid, and then I could Nomads and be holding up Memory's Journey, depending on how things go for my opponent. I kind of like that play. I could also play Nomads and then have the option to Nadu. I'm just going to assume they have something, like removal or something, and maybe baiting it out with Cephalid would also be good. They could daze me here. So this is definitely a slower line, unless I want to do Memory's Journey next turn. Okay, I like seeing this Brainstorm. I would love to see a Force of Will on this. That would make me so happy. My opponent has very nice islands, these Urza Saga islands. Amazing art. I love all the old art. Hey, Force of Will pitching Stifle. Okay. Stifle not? Random deck that plays Stifle? They could have stifled my fetch land there. Unless they found Stifle off of okay. Random tempo deck that plays Stifle is what it's looking like. Another Cephalid. So seeing as they're not holding up Bolt right now, I like the idea of playing Nomads and then Cephalid. And I think I just have to get a Savannah here. I am holding all dual hands against the Wasteland deck. But let's see how this goes. They could daze this. This is sort of what I was intentionally playing around with this sequencing. Okay, yeah, daze is fine. Hopefully this means they don't have a daze next turn, or a Wasteland for that matter. And yeah, you got me. I am dazed. So basic island, and now 3 unknown cards. Offering the trade. I think I will not accept the trade, though it's tempting. All right, they replay the island. I think next turn the play is to just jam Nadu. I got a daze out of the way. A Bolt is likely. I just, you know, against the Wasteland deck, you never know when you're going to run out of having 3 lands. So I'm going to jam Nadu. If I lose the Nomads, that stinks. But Nadu in play is worth a lot. Tamiyo is just a little late to the party. Dang, another daze. All right. Well, I think as a rule, like, I'm pretty okay with playing around 1 daze with my sequencing, but a second daze, like especially so early in the game, I don't think it's worth playing around. If they have Murktide here, that would be amazing for them. Looks like they do. Okay, 2-turn clock. All right. Well, I don't have Dread Return, but this still feels pretty good. A Bolt here wouldn't be so bad. Okay, Bobble. I think I just have to go for it. I can at least do it in response to that Bobble. So that's nice. And a Ponder. So if they keep the Ponder, they're getting 2 of the cards off of it. If they shuffle the Ponder, that should all but seal the deal for me. If they keep and they attempt to remove one of these creatures, I'll feel really good. If they wasteland me, I'm pretty dead. Preordain. 1 to the top. Wasteland. Okay. So I think I have to get my creatures here and then plan on chumping with Narcomoebas. And then I'll Memory's Journey back Thassa's Oracle and Cavern of Souls. Yep, they wasteland me now. That's fine. If they have another wasteland, then I'm dead to that. All right, my library is empty. Block here. In response to the draw, Memory's Journey back Thassa's Oracle, Cavern of Souls. Okay, Thassa's Oracle. Play out Tamiyo to have another blocker. Swing. So Bolt gets me, Wasteland gets me. Stifle gets me if they have another Stifle. Okay. I like Bobble. I think the other card is going to come too late. Keeping a card on top. Could be Bolt. I'll block here. Okay. Yep, they got me. Alright, against the Delver deck, I just want my removal. I'll bring in the Soul Cauldron on the play. I didn't see if it was a Delver deck, as in like actually on Delver of Secrets, or if it was just a like Quarry. I guess they did have Quarry. So I actually will keep a Force of Will in. I think that's better to do against the Quarry decks. Alright, I'll be on the play, and I'll keep. Pretty good hand. If Narcomoeba was anything else, it'd probably be better. But yeah, that last game was a bit tragic, and it was overall just brought to you by having Dread Return in hand. Shame I couldn't capitalize on that early Force of Will on the Cephalid. That felt like a game I should have and could have won. I actually think the big thing was them just having the 2 dazes and having the daze for Nadu. I think if they couldn't remove my Nadu with the daze, I think that game would have gone differently. Hoping Tamiyo gets to live here, but we'll see. Alas. Okay, I'm going to Surveil. Get Meticulous Archive. Or actually probably Hedge Maze. Alright, they got a Cutter. But no follow-up. Have to imagine next turn they'll make a Monk. Another Tamiyo is good. I'll play out the Tamiyo and play out Tundra. I'll actually play out the Cephalid as well. I want to be able to use my mana to make clues. Yeah, they could daze this, but I think they're less likely to have daze. Now that they're on the draw, I don't know. Maybe it's about to get dazed. Sure. Well, that does lessen the likelihood of a double spell next turn. Alright, looks like I'm getting a turn. They're not wastelanding me. Okay. Terrible draw. But maybe they have Graveyard Hate. I'm going to draw a card. Ending. Alright, I'm going to attempt to ending the Cutter. Brainstorm in response. If they Force a Will after this, they get to make a Monk. And keep the Cutter. Alright, got rid of the Cutter. That's nice. I'm sad they're not wastelanding me. Looks like they're just saving it for Saga. If they have a Murktide here, that's really good. Channeler. It's less good, but still good. And I appear to be getting another turn with the Tamiyo. Maybe not. Yeah. Alright, well now hopefully I can punish this by getting a Nadu. I probably have to play the Oracle if I draw nothing good this turn. Come on and wasteland me. Alright, they wastelanded me. Now I can play Saga. Alright, I think I have to play out Thassa's Oracle. Hopefully I'll see a Nadu. But this also blocks the 1/1. I'll take a Ponder. I'll play Urza's Saga. They could have another Wasteland, but now, especially with the Cavern as well, I don't mind sequencing my lands to play out some really valuable lands. And I just have to get the show on the road at the end of the day. That will not quite give them Delirium unless they surveil another card type into the bin here. Okay, they keep a card on top and Wasteland. Okay. Well, I can also play out the Narcomoeba. Start with Ponder. Would love to see removal or Nadu. There's Nadu. So if I wait on the Nadu, next turn I can hold up Flusterstorm to protect Nadu. I think that's pretty reasonable. With no Brainstorm in sight, I think playing on Narcomoeba seems fine. And then I'll just sandbag the Cavern. I'll continue to hold back Thassa's Oracle. And if they wasteland me again, that's okay. I won't get to hold up Flusterstorm, but... So name Wizard. Cast Nadu. I think I'll actually attack now with Thassa's Oracle. I'll hold back the Narcomoeba still. Sweet. Well, I'm glad I sequenced it this way, because it was tempting to just play the Nadu last turn. But I think I was wise to protect it. Their third Pyroblast of the game. And this is the setting where you really want Flusterstorm. Like, if Flusterstorm is trying to win a counter war over one of your spells against the Daze deck, it could just open you up to Daze. But they just can't answer 3 copies of Flusterstorm. They could pay for one, have 2 Dazes, I guess. I don't know. And still with that Pyroblast, I guess they kept the card on top. But I should be turning the corner here. Quarry Steel Cutter, that's fine. That's also going to have issues getting above Nadu. And I can even play out the Cephalid that can start activating. Shuko, sure. I could play out the Cephalid uncounterable. Or rather, counterable. To try to bait something. I'm going to do that. Well, they either don't have it or didn't fall for the trap. Alright. Yeah. Man, another Daze. So, definitely worthwhile to play around Daze from this opponent. They're keeping cards on top, and who knows what that could be for. That could be even something as simple as, like, not wanting to give the Channeler Delirium. Of course, if it's like a creature, it could just be that they have Murktide, which would then be kind of scary. Though Cephalid can start activating. Not outstanding. I'm going to attack with Nadu. I will play out the Cavern. I'll name Core at this phase of the game. And then the Cephalid can activate. Brainstorm is good from them. Okay, they have Delirium. If we go to game 3, which at this very moment I predict we will, my opponent also has to worry about time. They're pretty down on clock and taking their sweet time in making their decisions, which I respect, but you also have to be aware of the time. Like, if you take 2 minutes off the clock every time you cast a Brainstorm, you're going to run out of time. All right, just going to combat here. Maze of Ith plus draw a card. And a Brainstorm is pretty nice. They could have a Murktide. Okay. Continuing to pass, I think, is really good for me. Another Nadu. Okay, they just scoop it up. Yeah, that game's going my way, I think. So, on to the next. Game 3, I'm going to run back the same list. I have been considering Agatha's Soul Cauldron against the Izzet tempo decks, but I think only the ones that have Delver. They're a little bit more reliant on the graveyard, and Quarry Steel Cutter completely dodges that and goes too wide for this to feel like a super impactful card. I'd rather have Force of Will. This is a mull. This is a mole. Alright, I can turn 2, but not with very good mana. Well, this stinks. Alright, Tamiyo is a decent draw and a good incentive to just go basic island here. So if my mana gets underneath me, maybe I have a chance. Maybe my opponent like blows through their interaction on this Tamiyo. Maybe they daze the brainstorm. That's pretty annoying to see right now. Okay, well there's the Pyroblast. If you remember game 2, I really worked my way through a lot of Pyroblasts because of Tamiyo. And then they didn't have it when the Nadu finally came around, so maybe this turn is just play Urza Saga, let them Wasteland. I guess I'll Ponder. They could daze this. So they're being really aggressive. And I'm not even going to dignify them by playing out the Wasteland, or playing out the Urza Saga. Maybe I'll do that next turn. Okay, now they have a Cutter. So now I can actually tap the Saga for mana, so I can go like Saga Cephalid. And then maybe Brainstorm into the win. They could daze this. Let's see. Okay, so that sticks. They could bolt it. Another Cutter is really good. But if they're out of interaction, I'm in a pretty threatening position here, and they didn't Wasteland me. So this is pretty crazy here. They did keep the card on top. No blocks. Swords, okay. So I'm going to have to Brainstorm into a white source. Oof. Oh, that stinks. That's probably the game. The thought of them not Wastelanding me is pretty unlikely. But maybe they Wasteland the green. Maybe they're like, I have removal for Cephalid. I think there's a chance they could play wrong and I could win. If they play right, they're just going to win. Ugh, the double Wasteland. Blood Moon. Wow. Are they going to Wasteland me off after the Blood Moon? Nope. Well, I can make a bunch of constructs, but that should be the game. Am I even just dead right now? Yeah, I'm just dead. Good game. Yeah, that Mold of 5 was really rough, so that happens. It's crazy to think, though, that if I had Brainstormed into the white source, I probably would have won. So I bet that I would have successfully Brainstormed into the white source and above 50% of the time in that situation. Because I had all the fetch lands except one still in my deck, plus Cavern, 2 Caverns. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Sorry, I want to finish that math if I can. Maybe I can't look at my deck just right now, but suffice to say, I think the chances were likely of getting there. I'll keep on this. I've definitely played my opponent. I feel like they play like Fair Blue. Force of Will is cool. Hedge Maze. All right. Could be the mirror. Scythe Cat Cub. That's fine. I'm guessing this is some kind of Nadu deck. All right. Well, I aspire to put Dread Return and Thassa's Oracle back in my deck. Not great. But I get another Surveil. I'll get to play the Nadu. If I can keep them off of Nadu, I'll feel pretty good. Walking Ballista. Sure. And they can put a counter on it. That's pretty neat. And I don't know if they're going to put the counter on the Cub. Them doing it in combat here suggests they might. Cool. Well, that Walking Ballista could take down a Nadu now. Would love to see a Swords. Tamiyo, I think, is good enough to keep, but I am going to play Nadu right now. If they want to sack their Ballista and let me draw 2, I'm fine with that. They don't even have to sack it if they can get another counter on it. But at any rate, I'm fine taking the 2 for 1. Or 2 for... not exactly 1, but they would certainly be losing a lot of value from the Ballista. Another cub. Man, I'm just going to be dead to this. I just didn't really think this was going to get as out of hand as it did. Like, if I don't block the Ballista, now I'm just dead. Look at this. My God. Oh my God. Yeah, they're just going to shoot me to death. Well, that got crazy. Cool deck. I feel foolish for losing to that. Like Needle, probably Cavern over Plains is good. Flusterstorm probably alright. I like Cauldron. I'll get rid of the Daze. I'll trim 1 Cephalid. And maybe 3 Force of Will. Sure, I'll keep this. Need to find a white source. I'm going to shuffle that. Okay, probably end up swordsing that. Maybe they force to protect. Next turn I can Cauldron, like Saga plus Cauldron, and always be holding a Flusterstorm as the Saga is ticking up. Another Tamiyo is pretty good. Force of Will is nice, so I will commit the Saga, play Cauldron, and hopefully I can needle the Tamiyo Planeswalker and or just pressure it. I probably will fluster a Force of Will here. Alright, that resolves. I think it's safe to let them brainstorm and flip the Tamiyo. I think that the constructs are going to make the Tamiyo Planeswalker not super valuable. The Cauldron as well contributes to that. Still haven't seen if there's any other colors. This appears to be like a pure Simic deck. Sweet deck. Cub. I'd like to keep this cub off the table. And I'll just hold back the Cauldron. Alright, so I still have Fluster. And yep, they're getting to make a lot of clues. They can flip it if they have another land. I kind of want them to flip it though. And I bet they're smart enough to realize that flipping it isn't the best. Okay, drawing a card. Hopefully they are flipping it. And I think this deck is just Simic. Right, I think it's fair to surveil here because they can't like force a vigor or anything like that. Probably just get meticulous. Brainstorm is nice. Yep, I will definitely keep Brainstorm. Oh, I missed the Scythe Cat. Picking that up. I'm just gonna get Shuko. They clearly don't want to flip this Tamiyo. So I should be getting in for an extra point of damage and holding up Cauldron, but I'm not. They could have something like Petty Theft. Just drawing the card right now, sure. And I will not play the land out. Combat's pretty good. Plenty of cards in hand for the opponent. Nadu is good. Yeah, that's fine. They have Shuko. Okay, they're gonna flip Tamiyo. That's fine. Finally get this Scythe Cat Cub. Put the trigger on the unequipped creature. I'll Brainstorm. Put back 2 lands. I could also win the game here. Let's start by attacking the Tamiyo. And if they don't have a blocker, if they don't block with the Nadu, the Tamiyo is gone. Well, it's gone no matter what. I'll fetch, drop, play Cephalid, Fluster. And then I don't know if I can go for it here. Let's see. I hate passing the turn to them. I think I will just pass though. Now that I have a Nomads there, I can mill. Like I can put the Nomads underneath the Cauldron and I can mill at instant speed. I just don't want to, when I have them behind on board like this, I don't want to die because I comboed off recklessly. And I get punished if they have like a Shuko or a safekeeper or something like that. Like I definitely feel pretty risky about passing the turn back to them. Drawing a card. They have their own cauldron. Well, I have to get this nomads out of here right now. That is nevertheless quite good for them, because that's still graveyard hate and they can trigger their Nadu. But if they don't have removal, these constructs are gonna be really good. Okay, so they're letting their ballista die immediately. So they're gonna get to trigger their Nadu and they're gonna get to kill my Cephalid. Okay, going to combat. Now I can put them to dead actually, right? I think I'm just gonna mill here, but maybe not all the way. Like I'm just gonna get a Narcomoeba. If they have something like Force of Vigor, that's really good. The Thassa's Oracle is in the graveyard. And there's a Narcomoeba. And I can actually go pretty deep here on cards. I think I can leave just one card left in my library. I think the one card left in my library is Memory's Journey. So that's kind of crazy. Or no, I pitched it. Target opponent sacrifices a creature of their choice with flying. I guess that's going to be Narcomoeba. But they're dead on board. So the last card's Narcomoeba. So I'll exile their Tamiyo. Put a counter on this. If they have Force of Vigor, I'm pretty screwed. Otherwise, I have Xaxes. Cool. That was a close one. Really cool Cauldron game, Cauldron mirror match. Yeah, so they are Nadu deck. I think I can run back this this list. All right, definitely looking at a mulligan here. Oh my god, another mold of 5 with bad mana. Such a bummer. All right, I'll keep this. Really unfortunate mulligans this league. To win 3 matches and then lose game 3, possibly twice in a row off of mulligans. I think it's safe to swords here rather than ending in case they force this. Cool. Another Tamiyo, sure. Okay. This time I'll prismatic ending it. Alright, a plan is emerging. If they force this, I have the swords. Sweet. Walking Ballista, sure. I can swords that. Shuko, okay. I'm gonna just play Shuko and pass. And because I'm mold, I really need this brainstorm to be as high value as possible. So obviously it was tempting to go brainstorm and then Shuko, but yeah, I like all the cards in my hand. And I might not always like all of them. Bristly Bill, sure. And then a land, okay. So 2 cards left in hand. I probably will have to swords the Ballista. Ponder, okay. Well, my opponent is running out of cards. Shuffles, okay. I wonder what would happen if I just swords right now. After a ponder shuffle. Yeah, I'm game for that. I'll get a Savannah and just swords it now. And they could fetch, put more counters on it. But I think after the ponder shuffle there, and the fact that I can present a win if I get rid of that guy, seems tempting. Tamiyo. That's probably a more disciplined play. I'll brainstorm. Okay, well next turn I have Nadu and I have Cephalid as an option. So hopefully I can dodge an opponent's Nadu. I think they would have played Nadu that turn. I don't know. Definitely a chance here. Alright, they have a Nadu. Yeah. Okay, playing a land out. Another land. Another land. Well, if they only hit lands, they're going to run out of things to do. Days, okay, good to know. And they get one more trigger. Brainstorm. I should have gone for it. Heath. All right. I bet they still have days in their hand. Declines to shuffle. Well, here's Cephalid, and they can get one more look here. I'll pay for it. They have another days. That's pretty good. All right, so I have to survive the next turn, and then I can Nadu. Double days was really good. Cauldron, okay. So, yeah, these land drops are killer. Tameo. I think I'm just dead. I should have gone for it in the window that I had. That was, yeah, I just played conservatively. And on a mull of 5, you kind of can't do that. And now I'm just dead. The Ballista is going to get there. Yeah, so good game. Cool final match. I definitely, I think I lost that match because I didn't really know what was happening. That first game, I think that was really just the story of that match. So some rough mulls to 5 as well. And that does show you, you know, Cephalid Breakfast. Sometimes the mana is atrocious and then you just lose to your own deck. So in all the games where I had good mana and was able to keep 7, those matches all went my way. And I think keeping 7 is typical. It's just that there's just enough awkwardness in the mana that it can end up being quite poor. So, yeah, overall, I feel all right about the deck. And kind of sad to see a 3-0 league finish in 3-2, but it's how it goes sometimes. If you're constantly getting 3-2s, then you're doing all right playing leagues on Magic Online. So anyway, thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.